So Parshas Beshalach is a teaching that's brought down in the name of the Baal Shem from the Beis Yaakov, which is the Ishbitzer. He brings down a teaching from the Baal Shem, which is a little complicated, a little problematic. But we'll just read you the teaching, and then we'll explain why it's a little problematic, and maybe another way of deeper understanding it. Ma'aseh Baal Shem, there's a story of the Baal Shem, that there was once a person that came to the Baal Shem Tov and asked him that he read in the books of philosophy and according to the modern science at that time, it was understood that the miracle that occurred with the splitting of the sea, at that particular time, there was a certain current, a natural current, and because of that current, the water receded. And that's the nature of the water. The nature of the water is that it recedes. So he came to the Baal Shem and asked him, what's the big deal of why do they make such a big story of the sea splitting when this is actually a natural occurrence? It's a natural occurrence that it happens. It happens every once in a while that the sea splits. So the story is that Baal Shem Tov gathers all his people, and he says all the townspeople should come together, and he tells them like this. He says the question that people ask, that this is a natural occurrence, he says, they have eyes, but they're not seeing, they're not really perceiving what's really true in this world. He says, Bereshis bar Elokim. It says, beginning Hashem created. Elokim is Gematria Teva. The name Elokim, when it says Bereshis bar Elokim, the beginning Elokim created, Elokim is 86, which is brought down by the Ramak, is 86. And that's the same numeric value as the word Hateva, nature. V'Hateva ba'atzmei gamke bor HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the truth is that nature itself was created by Hashem. So you're saying that what's the big miracle? What's the big idea? That the sea split for them and it's not miraculous because it's part of nature. So the Baal Shem Tov says, and what's nature? Nature it's an expression of Hashem. Elikim, Gematria Ateva. Elikim, the divine aspect of Elikim, is actually the numeric value of Ateva, which means that you're saying it's not a miracle, and the truth is that what is nature? Nature is the divine. And then the teaching continues like this, Leisane, that it says that the waters returned in the morning to its strength. So Chazal tell us, or sages tell us, L'tnai, this was a condition. That was a condition in creation that Hashem said to the creation. It says, I am going to create the sea, and I'm going to create a reality within you that you're going to split at a certain time period. And therefore, when it says that the sea returned back into its flow, it means that it went back to original condition because it was conditioned in the beginning of creation to also split. So the truth is that a lot of the teachings of the Baal Shem Tov are repeated in the name of the Baal Shem, since the Baal Shem didn't himself write his teachings. So sometimes it's lost in translation. It's lost in the transmission of the teaching. And this particular teaching of the Baal Shem, certain other tzaddikim said that it's not a true teaching of the Baal Shem Tov. It doesn't come from the Baal Shem. Why? I'll explain why. One way to look at it is like this, and this is incidentally the way the Rambam, Maimonides, and the Ralbag, Levi Gershom, they view the idea of miracles, which is like this: that in the beginning of creation, before the creation already occurred, there was certain conditioning within nature that Hashem conditioned the world in a way that when Klal Yisrael and the people of Israel were going to be next to the sea, originally part of the creation was that the sea should split. Which means, on one way, the way you look at it from this perspective, there's nothing really miraculous in this world. Nothing extraordinary, out of the ordinary happens. Because everything that's extraordinary, everything that's miraculous that happens in this world was already preconditioned in creation. It's like a person sets up a system, and they set up the system that it works in a particular way most times, and once in a while the system works differently. So then, even when the system works differently and it's extraordinary, it's actually not really changing of the system. That's part of the system. So what you're reducing then, in the simple interpretation of this teaching, is what you're doing then is you're reducing the miraculous to natural. You're saying there's nothing miraculous in this world. Everything is natural. And it's true, it's created by the Creator, but everything is natural. That's one way of looking at it. But there's a deeper way of looking at it. This is, I think, what the Baal Shem Tov is really teaching on a deeper level. One way is to say that there's nothing miraculous, because it's part of the nature. But what Baal Shem Tov really says, Elokim Gematria Teva, Baal Shem Tov is saying that Elokim is a numeric value of Teva, of nature, which means not that there's nothing miraculous, but that everything is miraculous. Not that the miracle was conditioned within creation, and really the miracle is just a natural event. Because just like the natural event is normally for the water to flow, then there was an event, that part of condition in creation is that this water should not flow when Klal Yisrael reached the sea. So you're saying that there's the natural world, and the miracles are just unfolded within the nature. The Baal Shem Tov is teaching the opposite, that there's actually nothing natural in this world. You look at this natural world, what are you looking? You're seeing Teva. What is Teva? What is creation? What is the physical world? The natural world is actually a miracle. And the difference between something that's miraculous and something that we call, quote unquote, is nature, is just a matter of our comfortability and expectability of that experience. If the sun shines day in, day out, we expect it to shine the next day. But the truth is, just like the sea splitting is miraculous, extraordinary, outside, and a complete revelation of the divine, the same thing also, every single blade of grass that is growing is an expression of the miraculous. Elokim, the divine, is expressed in the miraculous and outside of what we call nature and in nature. And nature is miraculous. So it's a completely different understanding. The first interpretation would say there's nothing miraculous and everything is nature because it's part of the natural world. What the Baal Shem Tov is saying, no, there's nothing natural. There's nothing natural in the world. There's nothing that's just nature. Nature is the divine. Nature is the miraculous. And this is a deeper understanding of how we're supposed to relate to every single aspect of our life. In the story of the splitting of the sea, there's after the sea splits, Klal Yisrael says Shira. They say a song. They recite a song. They chant a song. Moshe, Bnei Yisrael together. Different opinions exactly how they did this, but they all sing a song. After they sing a song, then it says Vatan lahem Miriam. Miriam responds and says Ashir LaHashem ki goy gasus v'reich ram vayam. Miriam responds, which means responding means she's saying you're giving the men. You said a very long song. Let's cut to the chase. Let's say what is the ikar? What is the main thing of the entire song? Ashir LaHashem ki goy ga. Let's sing to Hashem because He's exalted. Sus v'reich ram vayam. The horse and its rider are cast into the sea. So Miriam sees that the most important element of the entire Shira is that the horse and the rider were cast into the sea. What does the horse and the rider have to cast into the sea? What's the big deal? So the horse and the rider were cast into the sea. Who cares? That seems to be like the crux of the entire Shira. And everyone asks this question. Everyone asks this question. Everyone asks this question. What is Sus v'reich ram vayam? So one way to understand it is like this. Sus v'reich ram vayam means a horse. A horse that's being ridden was cast into the sea. There's a guy that's driving the horse. This is the natural way. This is Teva. There's a horse rider, and the horse rider is riding the horse. If the miracle would occur that the horse is destroyed, or the rider falls off the horse, that's a shidduch merachas Teva. That's the breaking of the nature. What was the miracle? The miracle revealed that sus v'roich vay, while the horse was being ridden by the horse, ram vayam. That means that the nature itself is divine. The nature itself is the miraculous. The horse doesn't have to disappear or collapse. Neither does the person have to fall off the horse. But the horse that's being ridden by the rider, simultaneously, while it's still being ridden by the rider, that in itself is divine. That in itself is miraculous. That's the oimik that's the depth of Kriyas Yamsuf. The depth of Kriyas Yamsuf, what the Baal Shem Tov is teaching, is the depth of Kriyas Yamsuf is the recognition that there's nothing natural. There's a guy riding on a horse, that's a natural thing. That in itself is divine. Whatever we see in this world, everything, you're walking down the street, you see a tree, you see a person, you see a car driving by, whatever you're seeing in this world, that is a miracle. What is a miracle? A miracle means that it's a revelation of the divine of Elokus to you at this present moment. It's Elokim that's speaking to you through Teva. And there's nothing natural in this world. Everything is a divine. Everything is Hashem's expression. And this is the oimik, this is the deeper teaching of the Baal Shem Tov, which I think all the Chassidic rabbis will agree, is what the Torah of the Baal Shem Tov is saying. That not that there's nothing miraculous, because all miracles are unfolded already within the beginning of creation and its nature, but that everything is miraculous and there is no nature whatsoever and everything is the divine.